Since 2015, Jared Stillman has rocked Nashville sports.
That team freaking stinks.
And now he's back. The takes are hotter than ever.
I mean, let's be honest, he just can't coach.
Welcome to Stillman and Company.
Stillman and Company on the 440 Sports Network, presented by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. A Stillman and Company special reacting to the Tennessee Titans 2026 schedule. We'll get into the schedule, what I actually think of it, and their chances. And yes, we will get into the fact that the Tennessee Titans do not have a primetime game. Tomorrow, if I end up doing a show tomorrow will be kind of more what's all going on in the NFL and everybody else's reaction. I watched the Titans video where they went up to people on the streets and said, "Hey, you're Trevor Lawrence. Hey, Trevor." And I didn't think it was very funny. But again, they're trying to recreate that epic Broadway one they did years ago. And I think it'd be really hard to do that. First, though, I do want to tell you about Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. They are the proud presenting sponsor of this program. I love Hiller. They take great care of my home. They can do the exact same for you. If you've got an issue with your plumbing, your HVAC, your electrical, if you're looking to build something out, if you're looking for something new, let Hiller take care of it. They are the best. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Proud supporters of the Preds, the Vols, and Vandy. That's Hiller. Call the Happy Face truck today. Okay, let's go ahead and put the schedule up there. If you're watching the YouTube stream right now, voila. There is the Tennessee Titans 2026 schedule. At home against the Jets, at home against the Eagles, on the road against the Giants, on the road against the Ravens, at home against the Texans, on the road at Indianapolis, at home against the Browns, on the road against the Bengals, a Week 9 bye. Again, I talked about that earlier today. You just don't want an early bye. You would prefer in the middle of the season. Sometimes, the late bye, it happens. You did not get a bad bye. You got a decent bye at Week 9. Jacksonville at home. Dallas on the road. I will be going to that game if I can. Jacksonville on the road. So Jacksonville 2 out of 3 weeks, and then you're done with them. Washington at home. At Detroit. I'm just going to tell you right now. At Detroit, December 13th. Loss. Home against the Colts. On the road against the Raiders right after Christmas. The last game ever at the old Nissan Stadium on January 3rd against the Steelers. And then the last game of the year against the Texans. This is the Tennessee Titans 2026 schedule. Every single game, except for the Raider game in LA and the Jacksonville game in Jacksonville, is set for a noon kickoff, which is not a good sign if you're the Titans, as far as what the NFL thinks of you. But that right there is the NFL schedule. So, what do we think? I'll get to my reaction, then I'll get to your reaction, and then we will go from there. Number one, when it comes to the Titans schedule, I think this is a very, very fair schedule. The Titans play 2 games in the first 3 that they should win. And they only play one playoff team, and that was the Eagles, who lost on Wild Card Weekend last year. They'll have a new offensive coordinator in Week 2, and they won't have A.J. Brown. So the Titans have the ability, based on this schedule, to start off 3-1. And if they start off 3-1, then I think you have a legitimate shot at the playoffs. Now, do I think they're going to go 3-1? I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that they have a chance to go 3-1. The Jets stink. The Giants stink. The Eagles, I think there's issues there that go beyond A.J. Brown. I think it starts with the quarterback. Now, they still should beat you, but still that game's at home. And then the Ravens, who didn't make the playoffs last year and have a new coach. And I've always said, I want new coaches, new coordinators, new quarterbacks. I want them early in the season. Week 1, new quarterback, new coordinator. Week 2, new coordinator without their number 1 receiver. Week 3, new coordinator, new coach. Week 4. New coordinator, new coach. I think that's pretty good. I feel much better about that now that I know that. That's the first thing. I think this is a very fair schedule, and I think the NFL did you a solid, giving you the Jets and the Giants 2 out of the first 3 weeks. Now, one thing that I do worry about that I don't love is I almost feel like the reason that you get the Jets and the Giants early in the season is so that the Giants and the Jets can get some wins. Like, I think the NFL, I don't think that they put the Jets and the Giants up there early for you to sit there and say, hey, let's hope Tennessee gets off to a good start. I think they did it in hopes that, hey, let's hope New York gets off to a good start. The Jets schedule, you, Green Bay, Detroit, Chicago, Cleveland. Ugh. Like, they better win that Titan game. If they don't win that Titan game, I mean, Aaron Glenn might get fired. The Giants schedule at the beginning of the year. Dallas, LA on, I think that's Monday Night Football. LA on Monday Night Football, Tennessee, Arizona. They put Tennessee and Arizona in there with the Giants early on because they're afraid that the Giants are going to start off 0-2 going against the Cowboys and the Rams. So we need to go ahead and give them the Titans and the Cardinals so that it's not so bad. But I think the Jets stink. I think the Giants stink. This is a very fair schedule at the beginning of the season. 3 of the first 5 are at home, including the first 2. I like the bye week that's smack dab right there in the middle of the season after 8 games. Considering that the Titans don't have an international game, to be able to play 8 and get the bye right there in the middle of the season is incredibly impressive. Because the way it works with international games is you kind of get to pick your bye. But in this instance, you don't play an international game and you still get probably the best time period to get the bye, which is smack dab in the middle of the year. You're not going to limp into the bye week, you don't think, with just those, like the last 2 are Cleveland at home and then Cincinnati on the road. If that was around Thanksgiving and you hadn't had a bye, I mean, your players would be just dragging ass to get to that bye week. Instead, you can bust it for the first 8 games, get your bye week, on you go. No Thursday night football for the Titans, which I think is not a great thing. I'd like one Thursday night game, but that's okay that they don't have it. No Thursday night football for the Titans. No murderous stretch of opponents or a murderous stretch of tough opponents and road games. You know, a couple of years ago, the Titans, and they ended up, I think, going 4-0. But the Titans ran the gauntlet when they had Buffalo, Kansas City, Indianapolis, and the Rams all in a row. This year, they don't go through any of those stretches. Again, if you were to say good teams, I would look at that as a team that either made the playoffs last year or probably should be a playoff team. Baltimore, for instance, didn't make the playoffs last year, but they probably should be a playoff team. But you play the Giants before you play the Ravens and the Texans, and then you get the Colts and the Browns. That's not murderous. You get Detroit, and then you get Indianapolis. Then you get the Raiders. You get the Eagles, but they're sandwiched with both the New York teams. There is not a stretch in here where I look at it and say, oh my God, look at that. Baltimore, Houston, Joe Burrow, Dallas. They don't do that in this schedule. And they could have very easily have done that to you in this schedule. And there's no 3 road games in a row. You have 2 sets of back-to-back road games. One in September, New York and Baltimore, which 2 very easy trips, and then one later in the year. I think it's great. No long road trips until Vegas around Christmas time. 3 of the last 6 games are at home. This is an incredibly fair and balanced schedule. I believe the Titans must go 2-1 in the first 3 games, and that means they need to beat both the New York teams. Now, again, I think if you're the Jets, if you're Aaron Glenn and you're trying to keep your job, you better beat the Titans in week 1. If you're John Harbaugh and they paid you all that money to come save the Giants, you better beat the Tennessee Titans in week 3, especially assuming you'll be 0-2 coming off of losses to the Cowboys and to the Rams. I think the Titans have to figure out how to split the 4 games before the bye. Houston at Indy, Cleveland at Cincy. If that means you surprise people and you win the Houston game and you win the Cleveland game, that's good enough. You started off the season going 2-1. Now you're no worse than 4-4 going into the bye. That's what I think they have to be. Pittsburgh, the final game at Nissan Stadium. I think this is good for 2 reasons. Number 1, I think it is a tip of the cap to the old Oilers/Titans-Steelers rivalry. For the final game at Nissan Stadium, this is a team in Pittsburgh that originally I used to think as a kid was the most popular team in Nashville. I thought the Steelers were more popular than the Titans when the Titans first moved here, and they had some wars. We all remember the Joe Nedney game in the playoffs in 2002 when they used to play, before that, in the AFC Central against one another. There was the game where Keith Bullock sent Tommy Maddox to the hospital. The Titans and the Steelers, that was a big rivalry back in the day in the old AFC Central with the Houston Oilers and the Steelers. I think it's a nice tip of the cap to the Titans era at old Nissan Stadium, and I think it's a fair opponent to go out on. That said, I think it's great for the Titans because I don't know necessarily what the fuck's going on with Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers, but it feels like Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers, for some reason, should have come to an agreement 2 months ago, and they haven't done it yet, and I don't know why. And so when you play a game in January of 2027 against the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think there's a pretty good chance Drew Aller or Will Howard is starting at quarterback for the Steelers by then, because if they don't have a playoff caliber team, there's going to be no reason to play Aaron Rodgers going forward. Now, maybe the Steelers have a playoff caliber team, but Aaron Rodgers taking his sweet ass time deciding whether or not he wants to come back is certainly not helping, in my opinion, the Steelers for next year. So I think that's a very fair game as far as the Titans are concerned. I believe the goal, somebody actually says into the chat, how many games do they have to win in order for it to be a successful season? I believe the goal needs to be 8-8 going into the last game of the year against the Houston Texans on the road. And the good news about that, as far as the Houston Texans are concerned, going on the road, is that Houston may have the division locked up by then. So if you're 8-8 and you're fighting for a playoff spot, they may rest all of their starters. That's why I always look at that last game and I'm like, that game always has an asterisk next to it for me because you don't know what the team you're going to be playing has to play for. And a lot of the times they have nothing to play for. Either they're in the playoffs and they're in, or they're just totally out and they're ready to go to Cancun. If we are sitting here after week 3 with the Jets, the Eagles, and the Giants, and this feels the way it's felt the last 2 years, where after 0-3, you can write off the season, then this organization's got very, very big problems for this upcoming season. And then, finally, the no primetime thing, which I've been waiting to get to before I even started the show. George in Murfreesboro popped in here and said, the Titans didn't deserve primetime games. Hell, Memphis doesn't even get half the games. Also, the last game at Nissan will be a Steeler home game. Let's talk about the primetime games. Quinn says, can't even get a preseason primetime game. Well, it's better, at least to me, than what I thought was the most condescending shit from Mike North, the guy who makes the schedule last year, when he was like, well, Titan fans, at least you have a preseason game in primetime. You can't draft your way into primetime. You got to play your way into primetime. I have a couple of thoughts on that. Number one, it is a terrible, and I mean terrible look, that you can't get a primetime game in 2026. You know, I saw Buck tweeted out that this is the first time since 2005, 2006 that the Titans have gone back-to-back seasons without a primetime game. But the football landscape was way different in 2005 and 2006 than it is now 20 years later. And the reason it's so different is there's way more broadcast windows. They have Thursday night football now. They play 3 games on Thanksgiving instead of 2. They play a Thanksgiving Eve game. They play a Black Friday game. They've got multiple Christmas games. They've got a Christmas Eve game. There are so many extra games with the international games, with the first ever Wednesday night football to start the season game. There are so many games that I figured the Titans would get at least one primetime game. I figured it would be at Dallas. The Titans haven't played Dallas and it not been a primetime game since 2014. They played Dallas in 2018, Monday Night Football. They played Dallas in 2022, Thursday Night Football. When they play Dallas, it's usually in primetime because it's Dallas. You couldn't even get the Dallas game to be a primetime game. Think about this. And I would love for somebody to run the numbers on this because I haven't added it all together. But if you look at the Titans schedule and the primetime games across the NFL, there are so many standalone games. An international game is a standalone game. A Thursday nighter is a standalone game. A Christmas Eve game is a standalone game. A Thanksgiving Day Eve game is a standalone game. Black Friday, standalone. You know what I mean? There are so many of those now that the Titans should at least be able to get one Monday night where the league says to ESPN, hey, we're going to put Cam Ward on Monday Night Football because it's that or Drek. And the TV partner's like, yeah, we're good. No Cam Ward. No, thank you. Like, I'm looking at the Sunday night slate right now. Dallas and New York. Okay. Indy and Kansas City week 2. So I doubt Mahomes will be playing week 2. And Indy and Kansas City is going to be Sunday Night Football. Like, would Indy, Kansas City, and they're probably, Taylor Swift will be there, so I guess that makes a big difference. Is Indy, Kansas City really that much better than, say, Titans, Cowboys? Rams, Broncos week 3. Why is my voice doing this? Rams, Broncos week 3. This is Sunday Night Football. Lions, Panthers week 4. The Falcons week 5. Ravens, Falcons, Sunday Night Football. The Falcons got a Sunday night game. Green Bay, Dallas, okay. Kansas City, Seattle, okay. Washington, Philly, okay. Tampa Bay, Chicago, okay. Cincinnati, Pittsburgh. Minnesota, San Francisco, Mexico City, fine. Chargers, Patriots, yes. Texans, Steelers, yes. Bills, Packers, yes. Vikings, Lions, okay. Jacksonville, Dallas. So Monday night, this is Sunday night. Sunday night is using my theory about how the Titans were going to get on primetime. They're using that for Jacksonville. Philly, San Francisco. That's Sunday Night Football. Wow. Sunday Night Foot. Wow. I mean, that's not even a great Sunday night slate. And you couldn't get a primetime game? And I do think maybe the reason why the Titans didn't end up in a Monday night slot is because ESPN is really making a big deal about this Super Bowl season, and now the league owns a part of it. Here's your Monday night schedule. Monday night, Broncos, Chiefs, okay. Giants, Rams, got it. Eagles, Bears, fine. The Falcons again. The Falcons are on Sunday Night Football, and they're on Monday Night Football. And the Titans can't get a Sunday night or a Monday Night Football game. Let's see if there are any other games that I look at, and I'm like, what? How could you put them there? Minnesota. So they've got a Sunday night game in Mexico City against the Niners. I think they have another Sunday night game against the Lions. They have a Monday night game against the Bills. I mean, they have Kyler fucking Murray at quarterback. He sucks. Pittsburgh, Jacksonville. That makes sense to me. This schedule's okay. And then the Falcons have another primetime game on NFL Network on November 8th in week 9, which I think is an international game. Oh, my God. No standalone game. And I'd say this. The Titans easily can play the disrespect card because by not having a primetime game, you're being disrespected. The Titans can play the nobody believes in us card, and I think it's a good thing as well to have the routine of noon kickoff, noon kickoff, noon kickoff, noon kickoff. You really do fly under the radar when you're not on primetime, and you really do have the chip on your shoulder of nobody respects you. That said, the NFL just told you what it thinks of Cam Ward. And I figured Cam Ward was going to get the Titans a primetime game, if for no other reason because he was on the Netflix quarterback show, which draws a ton of casual sports fans and casual viewers. And I thought maybe there was a chance that those people were going to look at Cam Ward on Netflix. Okay, they're following him. The whole country pretended like he didn't stink last year when he absolutely stunk last season. Okay, fine. Let's move in it. And they play Dallas. You can put that game on TV. They play the New York teams. You can put them on TV because it's New York. And still the league said no. No, we're good. No, thank you. Not even one. And the Falcons get a Sunday night football game and they get a Monday night football game. Unbelievable. The Falcons. Ugh. And they'd rather put the Falcons on television and put the Titans on television. Let's get to some more of your reaction. There's no way to spin this other than nobody gives a rat's ass about the Titans. And nobody outside of these Titan Twitter fanboys think that Cam Ward is worth a shit. Because if they did, they'd put him on TV. And they don't. And again, if you've got a quarterback worth putting on TV, they'll put you on TV. Minnesota is getting put on TV multiple times with Kyler Murray and J.J. McCarthy as their quarterbacks. That is a bad look that the Titans don't have any primetime games. But maybe that'll allow them to have a chip on their shoulder, and again, they'll get in the rhythm of playing at noon. All right, let's get to your reaction. Alex says, we are really about to lose the home opener to the Jets. We don't win week 1. I don't know that yet. If I had to pick the game today, and I bet the line would come out in favor of the Jets. I don't know why the line would come out in favor of the Jets, but I think it would. I expect the Titans to win that game, week 1 against the Jets. The Jets stink, and the Jets have Geno Smith at quarterback, and they've got Aaron Glenn as the coach, and Aaron Glenn last year was so in over his head, I'm not even sure he's a real NFL coach. So if Robert Saleh is a good coach, which, again, you people tell me that Robert Saleh is a good coach. If Cam Ward is a good quarterback, which, again, you people tell me that Cam Ward is a good quarterback. If Robert Saleh's a good coach, if Cam Ward's a good quarterback, then the Tennessee Titans will beat the Jets in week 1. If the Titans don't beat the Jets in week 1, it is going to be a nuclear meltdown from this fan base. I do think, though, the league scheduled that game week 1, Jets-Titans, as a favor to Aaron Glenn and not necessarily as a favor to you. One person says 7-win ceiling for the Titans. I think they can get to 9 because I think they can win 8 in the regular season, and then that last game against the Texans, if the Texans are totally out of it, or if the Texans are resting all their starters, you can win the 9th game. I don't think it's a 7-win ceiling. I don't know how many games they'd be favored in, but I don't think it's a 7-win ceiling. Ryan says, win 4, draft number 1, and dump Cam Ward. So then you're going to let the general manager that you people out here have been telling me is a great general manager, just look at the talent Borgonzi brings in, and you're going to let him pick that guy? Or you're going to let Robert Saleh, who was hired to help Cam become a star? Remember, he had a great plan for Cam that apparently is independent of who's coaching Cam, which makes no sense to me, but that's okay. Got a great plan for Cam. You win 4 and you dump Cam? I don't think that's doing what everybody was expecting this organization to do. One person says, I've seen where 8 teams got 6 to 7 primetime games. That comes apparently from Albert Breer. I didn't see what Albert tweeted. Some teams are getting 6 to 7 primetime games. The Titans don't have a single standalone primetime game. Keith says Atlanta is at least exciting with Bijan Robinson. Bijan Robinson is not getting people to turn on the television. When it comes to who's a bigger star in the league, Cam Ward or Bijan Robinson, the answer is Cam Ward. And I don't like Cam Ward as a player. But as far as who do people talk about more, I mean, I think the answer is Ward. Man. The Titans drafted Cam Ward number 1. They were so hooked in love with him. They thought he was so freaking good. They unretired Warren Moon's number. And in 2 years as a starting quarterback, Cam Ward can't get on national television. I want you to think about that. The guy was the number 1 pick and he can't get on TV. What an overdraft. That's why I'm just kind of waiting for this whole thing to be over. Borgonzi's era. Because he's so committed to Cam, and Cam so has not shown it. At least not yet. Maybe the Netflix show will change my opinion because we'll get to see a behind-the-scenes Cam, but Childers, that's my guy right there, says he's juiced for the Bears preseason game. You think the Titans will treat Cam like he's a franchise quarterback in the preseason? Or do you think when it comes to Cam, they'll say, no, we want to, he needs the reps. Because he definitely has the reps. One person says getting the number 1 pick would be a success, get the best quarterback, or trade for a king's ransom towards the rebuild. Yeah, as long as you guys don't get caught up in your feelings in December and say, oh my God, let's win this one game for, the sake of winning the game against the Raiders. Let's win this one game just so that we can say we won a game. Like they did last year against the Chiefs, and it cost them the number 1 pick, which they would have gotten a king's ransom for, since there was only one good quarterback available in this year's draft. So on one hand, if you're a Titan fan, you should feel great about this schedule. It is an incredibly fair schedule. You play 2 games in the first month against the Jets and the Giants. You need to win those games. The best team you play in the first month is Philadelphia. They lost on Wild Card Weekend. They have a new offensive coordinator, and they won't have A.J. Brown. 3 of the first 5 games are at home, including the first 2. The bye week is smack dab in the middle at week 9. There is no murderous stretch of good opponents, elite quarterbacks, or road games. Only on 2 occasions are there back-to-back road games, and there are no long trips until they go out to Vegas around Christmas. 3 of the last 6 games are at home, and the last game is on the road, and who knows what Houston will or will not be playing for in that last game. Pittsburgh, the final game at Nissan Stadium, is a nice tip of the cap for the old Titans-Steelers rivalry. But I think it's likely you're playing either Drew Aller or Will Howard by then. And yet, on the other hand, I can see how some Titan fans would be upset and offended about the fact that there are no nationally televised games. Because the Falcons have a Sunday night game. Minnesota has 2 Sunday night games. They're both on Monday Night Football. And it's not exactly like they have Mahomes at quarterback or went to the Super Bowl last year. So it's a fair schedule. It's a schedule you can win with, but it is a disrespectful schedule to the Titans. That's it for us. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends. We'll be back tomorrow, most likely, I think, at 2 o'clock.